Meow.
Batman Returns, 1992, directed by Tim Burton, was the highly anticipated follow-up to the 1989 blockbuster.
What do you want?
The direct approach. I admire that in a man with a mask.
Instead of playing it safe, Burton doubled down on his signature gothic style, delivering a film that was darker, stranger, and more psychologically complex than its predecessor. Behind the twisted fairy tale visuals and tragic villains, the making of the film was filled with creative battles.
You're just jealous because I'm a genuine freak and you have to wear a mask.
Surprising casting choices, and on-set stories as wild as anything seen on screen.
All just a bad dream. You're at home in bed, heavily sedated, resting comfortably.
Here are 20 weird facts you didn't know about Batman Returns, 1992. Number 1. Tim Burton and Michael Keaton weren't guaranteed to return. Today, it's almost impossible to imagine Batman Returns without director Tim Burton at the helm and Michael Keaton under the cowl, but neither of them was automatically signed on for a sequel. After the massive success of the first film, Warner Brothers was eager for another installment, but Burton was hesitant. He hadn't been completely happy with the final script for Batman, 1989, and would only agree to direct the sequel if he was given complete creative control. Michael Keaton also needed convincing. He only agreed to reprise his role as the Dark Knight.
Then we can go home. Together.
After securing a hefty pay increase and getting assurance from Burton that the new film would be its own standalone story, not just a rehash of the first, the studio agreed to their terms. Number 2. It was originally a direct sequel to the first film. The very first script for the sequel was planned as a direct continuation of the 1989 movie, picking up right where it left off. This initial draft, penned by the first film's writer Sam Hamm, included several plot points meant to tie the two films together. It featured scenes of Gotham gift shops selling broken fragments of the Batwing, further exploration into the Joker's past as Jack Napier, and even a storyline where Bruce Wayne proposes to Vicky Vale. However, Tim Burton wasn't interested in making a conventional sequel. He wanted something fresh and new, so the script was completely overhauled. While the direct sequel idea was scrapped, some elements like the Penguin and Catwoman forming an alliance survived into the final version.
You and I have something in common.
Sounds familiar. Appetite for destruction?
While others, like an invasion of Wayne Manor, were later recycled for Batman Forever. Number 3. Penguin and Catwoman were originally treasure hunters. In that same early script by Sam Hamm, the motivations for the film's iconic villains
She looked pretty scared to me. Touch of the bubbly.
were completely different. Instead of a twisted plot for political power and revenge, the Penguin and Catwoman were portrayed as rival treasure hunters. Their main goal was to find a stash of hidden loot, a storyline that feels far more in line with a traditional adventure film than the dark, psychological fairy tale that Batman Returns became. Tim Burton found the concept boring and uninspired, which led him to bring in screenwriter Daniel Waters, known for the dark comedy Heathers. It was Waters who ditched the treasure hunt and came up with the far more compelling plot of a corrupt businessman, Max Schreck, teaming up with the Penguin to help him become the mayor of Gotham City, giving the film its sharp political satire. Number 4. The Penguin's master plan was a last-minute fix. Even after Daniel Waters rewrote the script, the Penguin's ultimate plan felt a bit weak. Every great villain needs a truly evil master plan, and the Penguin's was lacking a powerful endgame. To solve this, the studio brought in screenwriter Wesley Strick, who had just worked on Cape Fear. Strick recalled being presented with generic ideas like the Penguin trying to freeze or heat Gotham City, an idea that would later be used for Mr. Freeze in Batman and Robin. Inspired by the Moses-like origin story Waters had written for the Penguin, an infant cast away in a basket, Strick came up with the horrifying climax.
You're just jealous because because I'm a genuine freak, and you have to wear a mask!
The Penguin would murder all of Gotham's firstborn sons. The idea was chilling, biblical, and perfectly suited the film's dark tone. Burton and the studio loved it, though the toy companies who had partnered with the film were reportedly horrified by the grim turn of events. If you're enjoying this so far, hit that like button and subscribe for more awesome movie facts, and tell us in the comments, what movie brings you the most nostalgia, and which one should we cover next? Number 5. Meryl Streep was considered for Catwoman. Before Michelle Pfeiffer famously cracked the whip, the casting process for Selina Kyle, aka Catwoman, involved some of the biggest names in Hollywood. One of the most surprising actresses considered for the role was the legendary Meryl Streep. A 3-time Oscar winner even then, Streep was briefly in the running to play the feline femme fatale. However, Tim Burton was reportedly unconvinced that she was the right fit, expressing concerns about her age at the time and whether she could embody the specific physicality and edgy energy he envisioned for the character. While Streep would have undoubtedly brought a unique intensity to the role, it's hard to imagine anyone other than Pfeiffer making it so iconic. Number 6. The role of Catwoman was fiercely competed for. Meryl Streep wasn't the only star eager to play Catwoman. The role was one of the most sought after in Hollywood at the time, and a long list of actresses and pop culture icons threw their hats in the ring. Pop superstars Madonna and Cher were both keen on sinking their claws into the part, and actress Demi Moore also expressed strong interest. Tim Burton, however, decided to go with the acclaimed but less famous actress Annette Bening. He felt she had the perfect blend of talent and intensity to bring the complex character to life. Bening was officially cast and began preparing for the role. But just as production was about to begin, fate intervened, forcing the filmmakers to recast one of the most pivotal characters in the movie at the last minute. Number 7. Michelle Pfeiffer landed the role after an unexpected pregnancy. Annette Bening was all set to play Catwoman, but shortly after being cast, she discovered she was pregnant with her first child with Warren Beatty. Realizing the physically demanding role would be impossible to perform, she had to drop out. This sent the production scrambling to find a replacement. Michelle Pfeiffer, who had originally been considered for the role of Vicky Vale in the first film, immediately launched a campaign to get the part. At the time of the first movie, she had been dating Michael Keaton, and he had allegedly felt it would be too awkward to work with her. By the time Batman Returns was in production, Keaton was divorced, and the issue was no longer a concern.
I guess I'm tired of wearing masks.
Me too.
Pfeiffer won the role and negotiated a $3 million salary, a significant jump from what Bening was offered. Number 8. Catwoman's suit was a vacuum-sealed health hazard. The skin-tight, latex Catwoman suit is one of the most iconic costumes in film history, but wearing it was an absolute nightmare for Michelle Pfeiffer. The custom-fitted suit was so tight that she could only wear it for short periods. Once she was squeezed into it, the costume was vacuum-sealed to make it look like a second skin. This process, however, restricted her breathing and circulation, meaning she only had a limited amount of time to perform her scenes before she would start to feel lightheaded and risk passing out. The crew had to be ready to cut her out of it at a moment's notice. The process of getting into the suit was also grueling, involving a lot of powder and silicone spray. Pfeiffer went through around 60 different catsuits during the 6-month shoot, each costing about $1,000. Number 9. Pfeiffer performed a whip stunt in a single take. Michelle Pfeiffer was determined to make her portrayal of Catwoman as authentic as possible, so she trained intensely for months.
She was just very, actually more complicated than I could have even imagined, just sort of psychologically.
She learned kickboxing, karate, and yoga to handle the physicality of the role. She also spent 3 months learning how to use a 12-foot bullwhip. Her dedication paid off spectacularly in the scene where Catwoman destroys Max Schreck's department store. In a moment of pure chaotic energy, she uses her whip to decapitate 4 mannequins in rapid succession before striking a pose. Pfeiffer did it herself, for real, and nailed the entire sequence in a single perfect take. Number 10. Yes, she put a real bird in her mouth. One of the most bizarre and memorable moments in the film comes when Catwoman, having just survived being thrown out of a window, returns to her apartment in a daze. As she stands there, a bird flies to her, and she calmly puts it in her mouth for a second before letting it go. Many fans assume this was done with a puppet or CGI. But Tim Burton's set was all about practical effects. The bird puppets they created looked too fake for Pfeiffer's liking, so she insisted on doing it with a real, live bird. The moment was captured in a single take, and while it lasted only a few seconds on screen, it perfectly captured the unhinged and unpredictable nature of her character. Number 11. Catwoman posters were a hot commodity for thieves. Michelle Pfeiffer's portrayal of Catwoman was an instant sensation, and the promotional posters featuring her in the iconic latex suit became incredibly popular, perhaps a little too popular. Across the country, bus stop advertisements featuring Catwoman were being stolen at such an alarming rate that Warner Brothers had to constantly send out replacements to cities. The problem got so bad in some areas that local police departments reportedly started patrolling bus stops specifically to catch would-be thieves trying to break the plexiglass containers to get their hands on a poster. Today, those original large-scale bus stop ads are highly sought-after collector's items. Number 12. The Penguin was written specifically for Danny DeVito.
Tragic irony or poetic justice? You tell me.
While other actors were briefly considered for the role of Oswald Cobblepot, screenwriter Daniel Waters has said that he wrote the part of the Penguin with only one actor in mind, Danny DeVito. Even before DeVito was officially cast, Waters tailored the character's dialogue and mannerisms to fit his unique screen presence. Despite this, other names like Dustin Hoffman, Joe Pesci, and even Rowan Atkinson were floated for the role. DeVito himself was initially reluctant to take on such a grotesque character. It took some convincing from his good friend Jack Nicholson, who had famously played the Joker in the first film, to get him to sign on. Once he did, DeVito fully committed himself to becoming the tragic, monstrous villain. Number 13. Danny DeVito stayed in character between takes.
What do you want?
The direct approach. I admire that in a man with a mask.
Danny DeVito's transformation into the Penguin was so total that he often remained in character even when the cameras weren't rolling. His devotion to the role was legendary on set. He would waddle around, maintain the Penguin's guttural voice, and interact with cast and crew as the bitter, sewer-dwelling outcast. This method acting approach created a palpable sense of unease and authenticity that translated directly to the screen. Michelle Pfeiffer later recalled that she never truly met Danny DeVito on set until the wrap party because he was always Oswald Cobblepot. His commitment helped make the Penguin a genuinely disturbing and sympathetic character. Number 14. The Penguin's look was inspired by crows, not penguins. To create the Penguin's grotesque appearance, Tim Burton enlisted legendary special effects artist Stan Winston. Winston was tasked with designing a look that was over-the-top Burton-esque without completely hiding Danny DeVito's face. After several early sketches with a simple pointy nose were rejected, Winston drew inspiration from an unlikely source: crows. Years earlier, he had designed crow characters for the film The Wiz that featured large, beak-like faces that incorporated the forehead and brow. He realized that a similar concept could be applied to the Penguin, giving him a more bird-like and monstrous visage. This design choice, combined with the pale skin, stringy hair, and flipper-like hands, created the unforgettable and nightmarish look. Number 15. David Bowie was the first choice for villain Max Schreck. The role of Max Schreck, the ruthless industrialist who serves as the film's non-costumed villain, was almost played by a rock and roll legend. The first choice for the part was none other than David Bowie. Bowie had previously been considered for the role of the Joker in the first Batman, and he was once again on Tim Burton's radar. He reportedly gave the role serious consideration, but ultimately had to turn it down due to a scheduling conflict with David Lynch's film Twin Peaks: Fire Walk with Me. The role then went to Christopher Walken, who delivered a chillingly memorable performance. Interestingly, Burton was initially intimidated by Walken, telling the casting director that man scares the hell out of me, which only made him more perfect for the part. Number 16. Robin was almost introduced. For a brief period, Batman Returns was going to feature the long-awaited introduction of Batman's sidekick, Robin. Tim Burton had even collaborated with DC Comics artist Norm Brayfogle to create a new, updated costume for the Boy Wonder. The design moved away from the classic colorful pixie outfit and toward something more modern and practical, Kenner. The toy company producing the movie's action figures was so confident that Robin would be in the film that they went ahead and manufactured a corresponding toy. However, as the script developed, the filmmakers felt the movie was already crowded with characters. They decided to cut Robin from the story, believing his introduction would be better suited for a future film. Kenner released the toy anyway, giving fans a glimpse of the Robin that never was. Number 17. Marlon Wayans was cast as Robin. Not only was Robin planned for the film, but an actor had already been cast to play him. Comedian and actor Marlon Wayans was officially hired for the role of Dick Grayson. The casting choice stirred some controversy among a small segment of fans who were resistant to the idea of an African-American Robin, while others were concerned that hiring a comedic actor meant the film was heading in a lighter direction. Wayans went through costume fittings and was reportedly paid for the role, even though all of his scenes were ultimately cut from the script. He was originally signed on to appear in the sequel, Batman Forever, but by the time that film went into production, Tim Burton had been replaced by Joel Schumacher, who decided to recast the role with Chris O'Donnell. Number 18. Michael Keaton cut most of his own dialogue. As the stoic and brooding hero of the film, Batman isn't known for being particularly chatty, and that was a deliberate choice made by Michael Keaton himself. According to screenwriter Daniel Waters, when Keaton received the script, he went through it and cut a significant amount of his own dialogue. He felt that Batman/Bruce Wayne was a character who should be defined more by his actions and presence than by his words. He believed that the less he spoke, the more mysterious and powerful the character would seem. After seeing the final cut of the film, Waters admitted that Keaton had been exactly right. Number 19. A zipper was added to the Batsuit for a very practical reason. During the filming of the first Batman, Michael Keaton famously suffered from intense claustrophobia while wearing the restrictive Batsuit. The original costume was a single piece of molded rubber that was difficult to get into and nearly impossible to move in. For the sequel, Keaton had one major request for the costume department. He wanted a zipper in the pants. The first suit had made simple bathroom breaks an enormous and time-consuming ordeal. The addition of a zipper was a small but crucial modification that made life on set significantly more comfortable for the film's star. Other changes were also made to the suit, including a more flexible material and a slightly altered chest logo, but it was the zipper that made the biggest difference for Keaton. Number 20. Michael Keaton got a massive pay raise. While the Batsuit may have been uncomfortable, Michael Keaton's bank account was certainly feeling very comfortable. After the first film became a cultural phenomenon and a box office juggernaut, Keaton was in a powerful negotiating position for the sequel. To entice him back into the role, Warner Brothers offered him a massive salary of $11 million. This was a colossal payday for an actor in the early 1990s and a testament to how essential he was considered to the franchise's success. Some studio executives were reportedly unhappy with the high figure, but Tim Burton insisted that Keaton was worth every single penny. And that's 20 shocking facts about Batman Returns, 1992. From its dark vision to legendary performances, Tim Burton's gothic sequel remains one of the most unique comic book films ever made. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment which movie we should cover next.